So we can date this back to all the Patriot Act. We can go look at, how the U.S., started implementing previously spyware, and historically that goes back into 1800s. They had started wiretapping phone lines, right? And so to counter gangs and stuff. And so there's always been this need and desire from the government to surveil the American people at a mass rate. And so it's nothing new, right? They just wait for opportunities to arise to take advantage of crises in order to develop and implement these technologies. And then several years down the road, that technology is banned because it infringes on our freedom. But it takes a while. And where does that data go once it gets banned, right? So these are the questions you guys start asking yourself. And then if you want to essentially really make a significant impact in your own life, and the best way forward is your community, right? Community outreach and getting involved in community. If you're aware of these topics, right, you should make other people aware of them. And but that's not the key takeaway. Those are just some considerations. Key takeaway, right, is you have to refine your analytical tradecraft. So everybody, to some extent, is an analyst. What it takes to be an analyst, though, is practice, and it takes time, and it takes fucking up, and it takes a trial and error, and it takes owning up and dropping your ego, and just being an open-minded individual. But analytical tradecraft is just pattern recognition, really, and knowing where to go for data. That's the biggest thing. So the biggest takeaway here is knowing where to go for your data. So as mentioned earlier, all the sources in this video are from like government entities or organizations that are dedicated to track certain activity, right? And so there are still some uncertainty with the data from those entities. However, that's the most organic, raw data that you can basically accumulate as a regular consumer. And this is the same data that your favorite podcaster looks at, your favorite talk show fucking host looks at this data, and then they regurgitate it to you in their own way, right? So you have to become familiar with how to look at data, how to analyze data in your own lens, and you have to understand that it is solely your responsibility to do that, right? And we live in a day and age where the power of information is now in everyone's hand. We all have the ability to contribute to the information age. So there's no excuse, really. It takes time. I understand people have different careers and different goals and different responsibilities in their life, but identifying the different sources is key. News is not your source. That is essentially that is a product, right? They gather sources and they develop a product with it, and you get to see the back end of that. But it's not the source itself, right? It's typically, if it's on the ground news, that could be a source, but some people rely, on making connections, and so human connections, and so they'll, have people they talk to in the government or something, and then they'll write an article about it. So when it comes to that, that's probably something that, it might be achievable for you, but might not necessarily be in your cards, especially if you're pursuing another career. But having access and knowing where to go for your data is going to be a starting point. So I'll leave all the links that I use below to find this data. And so going into that is determine if this fight or if this battle is worth your time and energy, right? And once you come to understanding that, and I'll make the argument that it 100% is, then it kind of could change your whole approach to this, right? What else? It is only going to get harder. So going forward, technology is only going to advance more. Policies are only going to get placed, right? So I don't know about you, but I can't read through every single fucking policy that's fucking or executive order that's passed, right? But I know where to go to read them, right? And so I know where to go to see the exact executive order. So that's crucial. Knowing the source. Okay, and then comfort traps. So comfort traps are going to be the bane of your fucking existence, you know, and it's going to be the main limiter to your ability to conduct center of gravity analysis and to essentially make any impact, right? Because these individuals want you to be comfortable. This is their playbook, right? That's one of their plays, is to make you comfortable and to make you fat and lazy and horny and fucking pursuing fucking money and all this other bullshit, right? Inflation is only going to get worse, you know, and don't see how it's going to let off anytime soon. So, like, we better settle down and get used to it and try to fucking, you know, control what we can. But yeah, so conduct your own analysis, identify a path that suits your goals. This entire presentation was through the lens of a cybersecurity analyst, right? Myself. And that being said, I'm a big advocate for people going over to cybersecurity. I had no real knowledge of this probably 2 years ago. I barely had just got into computers, but it took a lot of work, it took a lot of reading. And so, but yeah, position yourself and do your own analysis, do your own research, identify paths forward that are going to be sustainable, right? Other trades as well, to include infrastructure trades or construction trades, sorry. But maintaining infrastructure, right? HVAC. Again, those data centers are infrastructure. They're buildings. They have AC. They have all this technology in them that needs to be maintained. Someone has to do that, right? Peter Thiel isn't going to do that. He's going to hire somebody, or someone else is going to contract somebody to come do it. So these are considerations to take into account. Lastly, I'll leave off at what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. God bless. Take care. I hope this video was useful.